Chapter 1. The Man Who Vanished. Leo, what is going on with you? On my phone screen, Chloe Evans's profile picture glowed with a green duck. The texts were popping up one after another. I glanced at them and immediately locked the screen. 3 years. For 3 whole years, I've been living like a ghost. I didn't post on Instagram, didn't reply to a single message, and even ordered food delivery under a fake name. As far as anyone was concerned, Leo Carter was dead, including her, Chloe Evans, the woman I'd had a secret, all-consuming crush on for 3 years. That night 3 years ago, I finally worked up the nerve to tell her how I felt. Her response was a breezy, "Can we just be friends?" In that moment, I felt like the world's biggest joke. After that, I vanished from her world completely, and now she was suddenly trying to talk to me? Leo, I know you're seeing these. Why are you ignoring me? I went to your old place. Your mom said you moved. Where did you go? Reading the messages, a strange sense of satisfaction washed over me. 3 years later, and now she was panicking. Too little, too late. I was doing great now. I made a small fortune day trading, bought a condo on the east side, and was living a life of total freedom. Nobody knew who I was, and nobody bothered me. My phone buzzed again. Leo, are you dead or something? That one almost made me laugh out loud. Dead. I guess I was. At least, I was dead to her. I tossed the phone onto the couch and went to the kitchen to make a coffee. Through the window, I could see the ground below covered in a blanket of yellow maple leaves. The October wind was a little chilly, making the leaves rustle as it passed. 3 years ago, I was her personal lapdog. I followed her everywhere. I'd buy her breakfast every morning, bring her an umbrella when it rained, and run to the pharmacy for her when she was sick. A single word from her could make my entire day. Thinking back on it now, it was pathetic. The phone rang. An actual call. I looked at the screen. Chloe Evans. After a few seconds of hesitation, I declined it. It rang again. Still her. I powered the phone off completely. These last 3 years had been productive. I learned about investing, learned how to cook. I learned a lot of things I never had time for before. Most importantly, I learned how to enjoy being alone. No one to tie me down. No one to make me anxious and insecure. No one to make me feel like I wasn't good enough. I was Leo Carter, not someone's backup plan. At 8 p.m., I headed out for my nightly run. It was a habit I'd built over the last 3 years, rain or shine. The route was familiar. A loop around Laurelhurst Park just outside my complex was exactly 3 miles. There weren't many people out, just a few old men walking their dogs and a handful of other runners like me. When I reached the park entrance, I froze. Chloe was standing right there, wearing a white trench coat, her long hair draped over her shoulders. I hadn't seen her in 3 years. She looked even more beautiful, but there was something in her eyes I couldn't place. When she saw me, her eyes lit up instantly. Leo! She started running toward me. I turned and sprinted away. Leo! Stop! Her voice called out from behind me, but I was faster. 3 years of running had paid off. I quickly left her behind. Back in my apartment, I leaned against the door, breathing heavily. My heart was pounding, but I wasn't sure if it was from the run or from seeing her. How did she know I lived here? I turned my phone back on. A flood of messages poured in. Leo, I saw you. Why did you run? We need to talk. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Same spot at the park. If you don't show up, I'll wait for as long as it takes. I stared at the texts, a storm of emotions churning inside me. 3 years, and she'd finally found me. But was I the same person I was 3 years ago? Chapter 2. Her Persistence. The next day was Saturday. I spent it at home, reading as usual. My bookshelves were filled with works on market analysis, psychology, and philosophy. For 3 years, I'd poured all my energy into learning and self-improvement. At 4 in the afternoon, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw a delivery driver. Package from Mr. Carter. I took the package and glanced at the sender info. It was blank. Tearing it open, I found a sleek box inside. And it was a watch. It was the exact model I'd wanted 3 years ago, but could never afford. Underneath, it was a small note. Leo, this is the birthday present I owe you. Chloe. I remembered. 3 years ago, on my birthday, she'd said she was getting me a gift, but then it never happened. I couldn't believe she still remembered. My phone buzzed with a new text. Did you get it? It took me a long time to find that model. I promised I'd get it for you. I just never got the chance. I placed the watch back in its box and didn't reply. At 5, I headed to the gym. This was another one of my habits, 3 times a week without fail. The gym wasn't crowded. I started on my usual workout routine. 3 years of dedication had transformed my body. I was no longer the skinny college kid I used to be. Leo, a familiar voice made me pause mid-rep. I turned to see my old college roommate, Mark Davis. Holy crap, it really is you, Mark said, his face a picture of shock. Dude, where have you been for the last 3 years? It's like you fell off the face of the earth. Switched jobs, moved? I answered simply, "You're looking ripped," Mark said, looking me up and down. By the way, did you know Chloe Evans has been looking for you? I feigned indifference. Oh, really? Yeah. She asked me a while back if I had your number. Said she had something really important to tell you. What was it? No idea. She didn't say, but she seemed pretty desperate, Mark said, clapping me on the shoulder. Dude, was there some kind of misunderstanding between you two? No misunderstanding, I said, returning to my workout. We just didn't need to be in touch anymore. Mark looked like he wanted to say more, but he saw the look on my face and shut his mouth. At 6:30, I left the gym. I had half an hour until the time she'd set, but I had no intention of going. Let her wait, just like she made me wait 3 years ago. I went home, showered, ate a quick dinner, and sat down on the couch to watch TV. At 8, my phone lit up. Leo, you're not coming? I'm going to keep waiting. 9 o'clock. I've been waiting for 2 hours. Leo, you've really changed. 10 o'clock. I know you're not coming, but I had to try. I'll be back tomorrow. 11 o'clock. Headed home now. Good night, Leo. Reading her messages, I felt something I couldn't quite name. Did she really wait for 4 hours? The next evening, I deliberately took a longer-running route to avoid the park. But as I passed by the entrance, I couldn't stop myself from looking over. She was really there. Wearing the same white trench coat from yesterday, she stood alone under a streetlight. The October night was getting cold. She had her hands in her pockets, her gaze fixed on the road. I stopped in the distance, just watching her. She looked thinner. Her face wasn't as round as it used to be. The Chloe I remembered was always smiling, her face radiant. The woman standing there now just looked tired. At 8:10, I saw her pull out her phone, probably sending a text. A moment later, mine buzzed. Leo, you're nearby, aren't you? I know you're watching me. Please come out. Let's just talk. I didn't move, just kept watching from afar. 9 o'clock, then 10. She was still there. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I walked over to her. What's the point of this? She spun around to the sound of my voice, her eyes shining. Leo. She started toward me, full of excitement. I knew you'd come. I was just passing by, I said, keeping my distance. Say what you have to say. I need to get home. Her face fell, but she quickly composed herself. I want to ask you why you disappeared for 3 years. There's no reason. Was it because I rejected you? I didn't answer. Leo, do you have any idea how hard I looked for you? Her voice cracked. I thought something terrible had happened to you. What could have happened to me? I said coldly. I'm doing great. Then why didn't you answer my messages? I didn't see the point. She stood there, stunned, tears welling in her eyes. Leo, you've really changed. People change, I said, turning to leave. The Leo Carter from 3 years ago is dead. Then who are you now? She called after me. I didn't look back. A stranger. Chapter 3. The Unthinkable News. For the next few days, Chloe didn't text me. I thought she'd finally given up. A part of me, to my surprise, felt a pang of disappointment. I quickly suppressed it. Over the last 3 years, I'd mastered the art of controlling my emotions. On Wednesday morning, as I was analyzing stock charts, my doorbell rang unexpectedly. Through the peephole, I saw a middle-aged woman who looked vaguely familiar. After a moment, I realized it was Chloe's mother. I hesitated, then opened the door. Mrs. Evans. Leo, she said, her eyes instantly turning red the moment she saw me. You boy, how could you just disappear like that? We've been looking everywhere for you. How did you find me? Chloe told me. She stepped inside, her eyes scanning the apartment. This is a nice place. Did you buy it yourself? Yes. Mrs. Evans sat on the couch, her expression a complex mix of emotions. Leo, I need to talk to you. Okay. Chloe, she's sick. My heart tightened. What kind of sick? Leukemia, she said, tears streaming down her face. She was diagnosed 6 months ago. The world started spinning. I was completely stunned. The doctor said that if we can't find a suitable donor, she might. She might only have a year. Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? My voice trembled. She didn't want us to tell anyone, especially you, Mrs. Evans said, wiping her tears. But Leo, do you know what? For the past 6 months, she's been looking for you. Why? She said there were things she needed to say to you. Before it was too late. I sat frozen on the couch, my mind a chaotic mess. Leukemia? How is that possible? She always looked so healthy, so vibrant. Which hospital is she in? OHSU Hospital, 6th floor oncology wing, Mrs. Evans said, taking my hand. Leo, will you please go see her? I nodded. After her mother left, I just sat there, staring into space. Leukemia. 1 year left. Suddenly, my 3 years of playing dead felt utterly ridiculous. I thought I was being strong, that I had moved on. Turns out, I was just running away. And the first thing she did when she found out she was sick was look for me. Why? At 2 in the afternoon, I arrived on the 6th floor of the hospital. The oncology wing was quiet, the air thick with the smell of antiseptic. I found the nurse's station and gave them Chloe's name. Room 608, the nurse said, but it's quiet hours now, so please be mindful. I walked to room 608 and looked through the small window in the door. There were 2 beds inside. A person was lying in the one by the window. She was asleep, her face pale, paler than I had ever seen it. Her once thick, dark hair was thin now, covered by a pink beanie. Could this really be the same radiant Chloe? I stood at the door for a long time, unable to bring myself to push it open. You must be Leo Carter. A voice came from behind me. I turned to see a man my age in a white coat. He had to be a doctor. And you are? I'm her oncologist, Dr. Chun, he said, extending a hand. She's mentioned you often. I shook his hand. How is she, Dr. Chun sighed. It's not looking good. We've been searching for a compatible bone marrow donor, but we haven't found a match yet. So, how much time does she have? Without a donor, it could be a matter of months. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. Is there anything I can do? Just be with her, Dr. Chun said, patting my shoulder. Her spirits have been low lately. She just sits and stares into space. Ever since she found out you were alive and well, she's been waiting every day for you to visit. She didn't tell you the truth, did she? Dr. Chun looked at me. She doesn't want anyone's pity. But Leo, if you still care about her, please don't make her wait any longer. Dr. Chun walked away, leaving me alone in the hallway. I continued to stand by the door, my eyes fixed on the frail figure in the bed. Just then she stirred. She turned her head toward the door, and our eyes met. Her face instantly brightened, and a small smile formed on her lips. In that instant, everything clicked into place. 3 years ago, I thought she rejected me because she didn't like me. But now, I realized she probably rejected me because she already knew something was wrong with her health. She didn't want to drag me down with her. That's why she didn't stop me when I disappeared. But now, she was looking for me. Not because she regretted her decision, but because she was running out of time. She wanted to see me one last time. I pushed open the door and walked in. Leo, she said, her voice barely a whisper, but her eyes were full of light. Hey, I said, sitting on the edge of her bed. How are you feeling? Okay, she said, trying to sit up. I'm so happy you came to see me. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She paused, then managed a small smile. Tell you what, about your diagnosis. Her smile froze. Who told you? Your mom. She closed her eyes, and a single tear escaped, rolling down her temple. I didn't want you to know. Why? Because I didn't want to see that look of pity in your eyes, she said, opening them to look at me. I like it better this way, with you treating me like a normal person. I took her hand. It was so thin, so cold. Chloe, 3 years ago, when I told you how I felt. Why did you say no? She was silent for a long time. Because I already knew something was wrong with me. Chapter 4, The Truth. What do you mean? I squeezed her hand tighter. Chloe took a deep breath. 3 years ago, I was already feeling tired all the time, catching colds easily. I went to the doctor a few times, and they said my blood work was a little abnormal. They told me to come back for regular checkups. They suspected it was leukemia back then. They said it was a possibility, she replied, her voice eerily calm. So when you told me you loved me, I couldn't say yes. I didn't want you to be with someone who could get sick at any moment. My heart felt like it was being torn apart. You went through all of this alone for 3 years. I had my family, she said with a faint smile. It wasn't that bad, really. After I was officially diagnosed, I actually felt relieved. At least I wasn't afraid of the unknown anymore. So why look for me now? She turned to look out the window. Because I wanted to see you one last time. And I wanted to apologize. Apologize? I know I hurt you when I rejected you. I made you disappear for 3 years. She turned back to me, her eyes filled with regret. If I had told you the truth back then, would you have been in less pain? I shook my head. I wasn't in pain because you rejected me. I was in pain because I thought I wasn't good enough. You're good enough, Leo. You're better than anyone. If I was so great, why didn't you give me a choice? I stared directly into her eyes. What right did you have to decide for me whether or not I could handle the truth? She was speechless. I love you, Chloe. I love you enough to do anything for you, to endure anything for you. But you didn't even give me that chance. You thought you were protecting me, but you were really protecting yourself. You were afraid to see me suffer for you, afraid to see me regret it. Tears streamed down her face. I just didn't want to be a burden. A burden. I tightened my grip on her hand. Being with the person you love, even for a single day, is better than a lifetime of being alone. The only sound in the room was the soft beeping of the medical monitors. Leo, is there any point in saying all this now? She whispered, wiping her tears. I don't have much time left. Who says? The doctor said if they can't find a donor, then we'll find one. I cut her off. Medical technology is so advanced now. There has to be a way. She gave a bitter smile. You think I haven't tried? We've searched almost every donor registry in the country for the last 6 months. Then we keep looking, I said, standing up. I'm going to get tested. Leo. And my parents, my friends, everyone I know, I said, walking toward the door. You wait here. Leo, she called after me. The chances of a match are tiny. I stopped and turned back to look at her. So what? Even if there's only a 1 in a million chance, I have to try. Why would you do this? Because I love you, I said, my voice unwavering. I loved you 3 years ago. I love you now, and I will always, always love you. With that, I left the room. In the hallway, Dr. Shin was doing his rounds. He saw me and walked over. How did it go? I want to get tested for a match. All right, I'll take you down to the lab to get your blood drawn, he said, leading the way. But you need to be prepared. The probability of a match is very low. I know. The blood draw was quick. Dr. Shin told me the results would take 3 days. When I got back to the room, Chloe was reading. She put her book down when I walked in. All done. Yeah. I sat down by her bed again. What are you reading? She held up the book. Man's Search for Meaning. Seeing the cover, my heart felt heavy. Why that book? I wanted to understand what it means to really be alive, she said with a soft smile. I used to think I had all the time in the world, so I never really thought about it. Now that I don't have much time left, a lot of things are becoming clearer. Like what? Like, I should have told you the truth sooner, she said, looking at me. And I should have been braver and given us a chance. It's not too late. Leo, what if you're not a match? Then we'll find another way. What if there are no other ways? I was silent for a moment. Then I'll stay with you until the very end. Her tears started falling again. You're such an idiot. I'd rather be an idiot, I said, taking her hand. Chloe, let's give us a chance. No matter how much time we have left, I want to be with you. She looked at me, her eyes a mix of hesitation, fear, and a glimmer of hope. If my time really is short, will you regret this? Never. If I get ugly, if all my hair falls out, will you be disgusted by me? Never. If I die, will you be in a lot of pain? I didn't answer right away. After a long pause, I said yes. But that pain would be nothing compared to the pain of losing you. She closed her eyes, tears flowing freely. Leo, I'm scared. Of what? Of dying, and of being a burden to you. I gently wiped her tears away. Don't be scared. Whatever happens, I'm right here with you. In that moment, I saw the hesitation in her eyes disappear, replaced by a resolve I had never seen before. Okay, she said, squeezing my hand. Let's be together. The sun was setting outside, filling the hospital room with a warm, gentle light. 3 years of waiting, 3 years of hiding. It all finally had an answer. Whatever lay ahead, at least we wouldn't be facing it alone. Chapter 5. The Time We Had. In the days that followed, I spent nearly all my time at the hospital. I talked with Chloe in the morning, and in the afternoon, while she rested, I'd sit by her side reading or managing some of my investments. I'd go home at night to shower and change, then come right back the next day. You can't keep coming to the hospital every day like this. What about your work? I'm mostly investing now, so my schedule is flexible, I said, closing the financial magazine I was reading. Besides, being with you is more important than anything. A light blush colored her cheeks. We just got together, and you're already attached at the hip. What are we going to do with you? I plan on being attached at the hip forever, I said, taking her hand. I've already wasted too much time these past 3 years. What did you do all that time? Studied, worked out, invested, I said simply. I just wanted to become a better version of myself. For what? At first, it was to prove a point. But later, I paused. Later, I realized it was still for you. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a complex emotion. Leo, have you ever wondered what would have happened if I hadn't rejected you back then? We'd probably be married by now, I said after a moment of serious thought. We'd have our own house, commute to work together every day, and go grocery shopping on the weekends. That sounds nice. It's not too late, I said, looking at her. We still have time. She smiled but didn't say anything. Just then, the door opened, and a girl in her early 20s walked in, carrying a bouquet of flowers. Chloe, the girl said, placing the flowers on the nightstand. How are you feeling today? Better, Chloe said. This is my roommate, Wendy. Wendy, this is Leo. Oh, so you're the legendary guy who vanished for 3 years, Wendy said, looking me over. You're definitely handsome. No wonder our Chloe couldn't stop thinking about you. Wendy, Chloe's face turned red. I was a little surprised. She talked about me? Talked about you. She practically mentioned you every day, Wendy said, sitting in the other chair. For the last 3 years, she took every chance she got to ask about you. When you changed your number, she had friends go ask around at our old university. When you moved, she had your roommate try to find your new address. Wendy, that's enough, Chloe said, clearly embarrassed. Why? It's the truth, Wendy continued. She even learned how to cook, said she wanted to make you a meal when she found you. And what did you do? You, the heartless one, hid for 3 years. I looked at Chloe, who was staring at her lap, the tips of her ears bright red. You know how to cook now? Just a few simple dishes, she mumbled. You can make them for me when you get out of the hospital. Okay, she whispered, her voice even quieter. When he was giggling, are you two trying to make me jealous? My single life is hard enough as it is. Just then, Dr. Chin came in. Chloe, how are you feeling? He asked, checking her chart. We're scheduling your second round of chemo for tomorrow. Okay, Chloe nodded. Leo, your test results will be ready tomorrow, Dr. Chin told me. I'll let you know as soon as they're in. Thank you, doctor. After he left, a heavy silence fell over the room. It'll be a match, I said, taking Chloe's hand. I have a good feeling about it. And if it's not, then we keep looking, I said firmly. There's always a way. When he looked between us, then stood up. I'm going to go get some fruit. You two talk. She tactfully left the room, giving us some space. Leo, are you really prepared for this? Prepared for what? If I really... She paused. If I don't make it, I need you to promise me something. Don't talk like that. Just listen, she said, her gaze serious. If I'm gone, you have to live a good life. You have to find a girl who loves you, get married, have kids, and live a normal life. No, I said, my voice choking up. I only want you. Leo, we're not talking about this, I interrupted. You're going to get better, and we're going to have a long, long time together. She looked at me with a mix of pain and helplessness. Okay, we won't talk about it, she said, changing the subject. Tell me how you spent the last 3 years. I told her everything, from the initial despair to the eventual hard work and rebuilding of my life. It sounds like you were busy, but I was lonely, I admitted honestly. Every night, lying in bed, I would think of you. I'd wonder what you were doing, if you were happy, if you ever thought of me. I thought about you all the time, she said softly, especially after I got sick. Why? Because I suddenly realized that some people, some moments, once they're gone for good. I regretted it, Leo. I regretted not giving us a chance. I gently stroked her cheek. Don't have regrets. We're together now, aren't we? Yeah, she nodded, a tear rolling down her face. Just then, the door opened again. This time, it was Chloe's parents. Dad, Mom, Chloe said, quickly wiping her eyes. Leo, you're here too, Mr. Evans said with a smile. Thank you for being with Chloe. Of course, sir. Mrs. Evans set down a thermos. I made some chicken soup for you both. Eat it while it's hot. Thanks, Mom, I said, taking the thermos. Leo, are you two together now? Mrs. Evans asked cautiously. I looked at Chloe, and she nodded. Yes, Mrs. Evans. Tears immediately welled up in her mother's eyes. That's wonderful, just wonderful. Chloe has been talking about you nonstop for 3 years. We were getting tired of hearing about it. Mom, Chloe said, embarrassed. I'm telling the truth, Mrs. Evans said, dabbing her eyes. Leo, we're so happy you're with her. Mr. Evans was emotional too. Leo, please take care of Chloe. Mr. and Mrs. Evans, you don't have to worry, I said, standing up and speaking earnestly. No matter what happens, I will always take care of her. That evening, I stayed late at the hospital with her parents. Seeing their family together, so full of warmth, made my heart ache. If it weren't for this illness, they would be such a happy family. The next morning, Dr. Chen found me. Leo, the results are in. I looked at him, my heart pounding in my chest. I'm very sorry. You're not a match. I felt my entire world collapse. Is there anything else we can do? We'll continue to search the donor registries, Dr. Chun said, patting my shoulder. Don't give up. There's still hope. I walked back to the room. The moment Chloe saw my face, she knew. It's okay, she said, trying to comfort me. We'll figure something else out. I'm sorry, I whispered, taking her hand. I couldn't help you. Don't say that, she said with a small smile. Just having you here with me is the biggest help of all. In that moment, I made a promise to myself. No matter what it took, I was going to save her. The news that I wasn't a match was a devastating blow, but I refused to give up. I started obsessively researching every available treatment for leukemia, contacting specialists at major hospitals, and even asking friends to look into treatment options abroad. Leo, you're going to burn yourself out, Chloe said, her voice filled with concern as she looked at my bloodshot eyes. I'm fine, I said, closing a medical journal. I contacted a hospital in the States. They have a more advanced treatment protocol there. That must be incredibly expensive. Don't worry about the money, I said, taking her hand. I saved up a lot these past 3 years. It's more than enough. I don't want you to spend all that money on me. Who else would I spend it on? I looked at her seriously. Chloe, you have to believe me. I'm going to get you through this. She was silent for a moment, then nodded. Just then, Dr. Chun rushed into the room. Chloe, I have great news, he said, a wide smile on his face. We found a donor with a very high compatibility match. Chloe and I both stared at him, stunned. Really? Chloe's voice trembled. The report shows an 85% match, which is excellent, Dr. Chun said excitedly, and the donor has already agreed to proceed. I felt like I was about to burst into tears. When can she have the surgery? If the donor's physical exam comes back clean, we can schedule the transplant for about a week from now. This is amazing. I pulled Chloe into a tight hug. Did you hear that? We're going to be okay. Chloe started crying in my arms. I thought I would never see another spring. Don't be silly, I whispered, stroking her back. We're going to see many, many more springs together. Over the next few days, the hospital ran a series of pre-op tests on Chloe. Her condition wasn't ideal, but she was still a viable candidate for the surgery. What are the chances of success? I asked Dr. Chun. Around 60 to 70%, he said honestly. It's the best option we have right now. 60 to 70%. That still left a 30 to 40% chance of failure. But it was our only hope. The surgery was scheduled for the following Tuesday. That weekend, I took Chloe up to the hospital's rooftop garden. I haven't seen a view this beautiful in so long, she said, leaning against me as she looked out at the city lights. When you're better, we'll go somewhere even more beautiful, I said, stroking her hair. We'll see the ocean, the mountains, anywhere you want to go. That sounds like a proposal, she joked. What if it is? I said seriously. She turned to face me. Leo, are you serious? I've never been more serious in my life, I said, pulling a small box from my pocket. I've had this for a while now. She covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide with shock. I got down on one knee and opened the box. Chloe Evans, will you marry me? It doesn't matter if you get better, and it doesn't matter how much time we have left. I just want to be with you. Tears streamed down her face. You idiot, look at me. You are, and always will be, the most beautiful person in the world to me, I said, holding up the ring. Say yes. She held out her hand, and I slipped the ring onto her finger. Yes, she whispered. I'll marry you. In that moment, the city lights below bore witness to our promise. The night before the surgery, I stayed by her side. Are you scared? I asked her. A little, she admitted, but mostly I'm excited. Excited for what? For our future, she said, squeezing my hand. Leo, if the surgery doesn't work, it will, I interrupted. It's going to be successful. I know you don't want to hear this, but I need to say it, she said, her voice full of earnestness. If I don't make it, you have to remember the time we had together. You have to remember our promise. What promise? That you'll live a good life, she said, looking at me. You have to see all the places we plan to go for me. You have to love this world for me. I didn't speak, just held her tighter. And if there's a next life, let's find each other sooner, okay? Okay, I said, my voice hoarse. But in this life, you're not going anywhere. You're going to grow old with me. She smiled. I'll try my best. On the day of the surgery, I got to the hospital early. As they wheeled Chloe into the operating room, I ran alongside the gurney for a few steps. Chloe, she looked back at me and waved. Wait for me. The doors to the OR swung shut. I sat down on a chair in the hallway, and time began to crawl. Chloe's parents arrived, and we waited together. Leo, don't worry, Mrs. Evans said, trying to comfort me. Chloe is a strong girl. She'll pull through. I know. I nodded, but my palms were slick with sweat. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The surgery took 6 hours. When the light above the operating room door finally went out, my heart leaped into my throat. Dr. Shin walked out and pulled off his surgical mask. The surgery was a success. In that moment, I nearly collapsed onto the floor. A success. She was going to live. We had a future. Chloe spent 3 days in the ICU before being moved to a regular room. When she opened her eyes and saw me, she gave a weak smile. I'm still alive. Of course you are, I said, holding her hand. We have many more years to spend together. Leo, I had a dream. What did you dream about? I dreamt that we were old, sitting on a porch in the sun. Your hair was all white, and I was an old lady. Sounds pretty good to me. It was, she said, a light in her eyes. I want to make that dream come true. The recovery period was long. Chloe needed regular checkups to ensure the transplanted marrow was functioning properly. I stepped away from all my investment projects to take care of her full-time. This is such a waste, she said, her voice full of concern. You should be working. Nothing is more important than you, I said, feeding her a spoonful of soup. Besides, I have a job now. What job? Full-time private nurse, I joked, exclusively for Ms. Chloe Evans. She laughed. And what's the salary? No salary. All I ask is for a promotion from the boss. What kind of promotion? From boyfriend to husband. Her cheeks turned pink. Who would want to marry a goofball like you? 2 months later, her doctors told us the transplant was a complete success, and Chloe's body was recovering steadily. She could be discharged, Dr. Shin said happily, but she'll still need to come in for regular follow-ups. That's fantastic. I was so excited I could have jumped for joy. On the day she was discharged, I drove to the hospital to pick her up. Where are we going? She asked. Home. My place or yours? Our place, I said with a mysterious smile. I drove to my condo building on the east side and parked. This is our new home, I said, taking her hand as we went upstairs. I just finished setting it up yesterday. When I opened the door, she saw a warmly decorated apartment. The living room was filled with her favorite flowers. Our photos were on the bedroom wall, and the kitchen was stocked with ingredients for her favorite meals. Leo, when did you do all of this? For the past month, while you were napping, I'd sneak out to work on it, I said, giving her a tour of each room. Do you like it? I love it, she said, tears streaming down her face. I love it so much. Then let's start our new life here. In the days that followed, we lived a simple and happy life. We made breakfast together every morning, went for walks in the afternoon, and watched TV together at night. Her body slowly healed, and her hair grew back. Leo, let's go get married, she said one day out of the blue. Are you sure? I asked, overjoyed. I'm sure. We've been through life and death. What's there to hesitate about? The very next day, we went to the courthouse. Congratulations, the clerk said, handing us our marriage certificate. I wish you a lifetime of happiness. Walking out of the building, Chloe looked at the certificate in her hand and smiled radiantly. Mrs. Carter, it's not too late to change your mind, I teased. Not a chance, she said, linking her arm through mine. When I choose someone, it's for life. And the next one, too. A year later, the doctors gave us the final word. Chloe was in complete remission. From now on, you'll only need an annual checkup, Dr. Chen told us. You can live a completely normal life. That night, we opened a bottle of red wine at home to celebrate. Thank you, Leo, she said, leaning against me. Thank you for not giving up on me. It was you who didn't give up on yourself, I said, kissing the top of her head. You're the one who taught me what real courage looks like. So, is this our happily ever after? No, this is just the beginning, I said, looking at her. Our story is just getting started. Another year passed, and Chloe got pregnant. The doctor says the baby is perfectly healthy, she said, holding the ultrasound picture, her face glowing with happiness. Really, I was so excited I picked her up and spun her around. We're having a baby. Be careful, you big goof, she laughed, patting my shoulder. Put me down. On the day the baby was born, I waited outside the delivery room for 8 hours. When a nurse came out holding a tiny bundle, I was in a complete daze. It's a girl, and she's very healthy, the nurse said. I carefully took the baby, looking at the tiny life in my arms, and I couldn't stop the tears from falling. Thank you, I said to a tired but blissful Chloe lying in a hospital bed. Thank you for giving me this perfect life. I should be thanking you, she said, taking my hand. None of this would be possible without you. We named our daughter Lily Carter, hoping she would be like a rainbow after the rain, bringing beauty to the world. Now, we've been married for 3 years. Chloe is healthy, we have her daughter, and we bought a bigger house downtown. Whenever I think back to my ghosting days, I have to laugh. If I hadn't chosen to run away, if I had known the truth sooner, could we have avoided so much pain? But maybe it was because of everything we went through that we cherish each other so much more. Leo, what are you thinking about? Chloe asked, walking out of the kitchen with Lily in her arms. I was just thinking about our story, I said, taking our daughter. From a secret crush to true love, from sickness to health, from being apart to being reunited. And what do you think of the story? I looked at her, then at the child in my arms, my heart full of gratitude. It's perfect. Yes, it was perfect. The journey was difficult, but the ending was better than anything I could have ever imagined. Sometimes, disappearing isn't about running away, but about being reborn. Sometimes, missing out isn't a regret, but a prelude to a more precious reunion. And love is choosing to believe in hope, even in the darkest of times. Chapter 8. An unexpected discovery in our 4th year of marriage. While sorting through old photos, I stumbled upon a secret. Chloe, when was this picture taken? I asked, holding up a photo of her in the hospital. She glanced at it, her expression turning slightly guarded. Oh, just some random picture. But the timestamp says it was taken 4 years ago, I said, looking closer. We hadn't even reconnected by then. She was quiet for a moment. Leo, there are some things I never told you. What things? I actually got sick much earlier than you think, she said, sitting on the couch. I started chemo 4 years ago. I stared at her, shocked. You mean? Well, I came looking for you. I had already been in treatment for 6 months, she said, looking down. At that point, the doctors had told me I had a year to live at most. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want you to think I was using your sympathy to get you back, she said, looking up at me. I wanted you to come back because you loved me, not because you pitied me. I walked over and wrapped my arms around her. You're ridiculous. You're not mad that I hid something so important? I'm only mad that you had to bear all of that alone, I said, holding her tight. If I had known, I never would have let you face it by yourself. Well, you know now, she said, smiling into my shoulder. And we got through it. Just then, Lily ran over and hugged our legs. Mommy and Daddy are hugging. That's right, we are, I said, picking her up. Does Lily want a hug too? Yes. The 3 of us hugged, a small, perfect circle of warmth. Daddy, why is Mommy crying? Lily asked, noticing the tears in Chloe's eyes. Because Mommy is very, very happy, I answered for her. Then I want to cry from happiness too, Lily said, squeezing her eyes shut dramatically. We both laughed. That night, after Lily was asleep, Chloe and I sat on the balcony. Leo, Have you ever wondered what would have happened if I had actually died? Don't say things like that. I'm serious, she said, gazing at the stars. Sometimes, the happiness we have now feels so unreal, like a dream. Then let's never wake up, I said, taking her hand. Let's stay this happy forever. Do you think our daughter will find our story legendary? She'll know when she's older, I mused. But I hope her love life is a lot smoother than ours. Why? Because earning happiness through so much pain is just too hard, I said, looking at her. I want her to simply find someone who loves her and be simply happy. You have a point, Chloe smiled. Our story was a bit of a roller coaster. The next day, I got a call from Mark Davis. Leo, my man, it's Mark, your old college roommate. Of course I remember. What's up? I'm getting married, and I'd love for you and your wife to come. For real? Congratulations, I said, genuinely happy for him. When is it? Next Saturday. I'll text you the address. Mark paused. Hey, just a heads up, a lot of people from our class will be there, including some you might not want to see. What do you mean? You know, some of the guys who gave you a hard time back then. Mark said, sounding concerned. Maybe you guys shouldn't come. Why not? I laughed. It's not like I have anything to be ashamed of. All right, man. Well, I hope to see you there. After hanging up, Chloe asked, who was that? Mark Davis, my old roommate. He's getting married and invited us. Are we going? We're going, I nodded. It's time for those people to see how the guy they laughed at is doing now. On the day of the wedding, we went with Lily. The hotel was filled with familiar faces from college. Leo Carter? Someone recognized me. Is that really you? Where have you been all these years? Just busy with work? I replied simply, this must be your wife. She's beautiful. Another said, looking at Chloe with envy. Thank you, Chloe said with a polite smile. And is this your daughter? She's adorable, someone else cooed at Lily. Leo, I heard you're in finance now. Making good money? Someone pried. Doing okay. So, where are you living these days? Downtown. A crowd was starting to form. Everyone curious about the classmate who had vanished years ago. Leo Carter. A loud voice cut through the chatter. I turned to see a familiar face. Kevin Fisher, a guy who always went out of his way to antagonize me in college. I can't believe you actually showed up, Kevin said, walking over, his tone dripping with provocation. Why wouldn't I? I asked calmly. Weren't you so ashamed after Chloe shot you down that you ran away with your tail between your legs? Kevin said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. What are you doing now, parading your wife and kid around? The surrounding chatter died down. The air grew thick with awkwardness. Chloe squeezed my hand, a silent signal to stay calm. I looked at Kevin and smiled faintly. You're right, Kevin, I said, my voice even. I did run away because I was rejected. But today I'm married to the girl who rejected me. We have a beautiful daughter, and we are incredibly happy. Kevin was stunned into silence. And you? I continued. I hear you've bounced between a few jobs and are still single. Between the two of us, who do you think should feel ashamed? Whispers erupted around us. Kevin's face turned beet red. You? Me what? My voice remained calm. Kevin, in the real world, happiness is more important than pride. I'm grateful for the time I spent away. It forced me to become a better man and taught me to cherish the life I have now. With that, I took Chloe's hand, picked up Lily, and walked away. Daddy, why was that man so mean? Lily asked for my arms. Because he's not happy, I said, kissing her cheek. And unhappy people like to make others unhappy too. Are we happy? Of course we are, I said, looking at Chloe. We're the happiest family in the world. On the way home, Chloe asked, why did you respond to him like that? Because I wanted him to know, and I wanted to confirm it for myself. I said, gripping the steering wheel. The happiness we have is real. It wasn't given to us out of pity or charity. Do you have any regrets about running away? I thought for a moment. No. Without those 3 years of reflection, I never would have grown up. Without knowing the fear of losing you, I never would have learned how to truly cherish you. So you think that experience had meaning? Absolutely, I said, glancing at her. It made me who I am today, and it gave us the life we have now. Chapter 9. The Legacy. A few more years passed, and Lily started elementary school. One day, she came home looking glum and slumped onto the couch. What's wrong, sweetie? Chloe asked. A boy in my class gave me a note, Lily mumbled. Chloe and I exchanged a quick, nervous glance. What kind of note? I asked, sitting down next to her. He said he likes me and wants to be my friend, Lily said, pulling out a neatly folded piece of paper. But I don't know what to say back. Chloe smiled. Well, what do you think? I think he's nice, but I'm too young to have a boyfriend, Lily said very seriously. My teacher says I need to focus on my schoolwork. Then you can just tell him that you can be friends, but you want to focus on school right now, I suggested. But I don't want to hurt his feelings, Lily fretted. What if he gets sad because I said no? Hearing that, Chloe and I were both taken aback. Our 7-year-old was already so considerate of others' feelings. Lily, do you want to hear a story about Mommy and Daddy? Chloe asked, pulling our daughter onto her lap. What story? The story of how Daddy chased after Mommy. Lily's eyes lit up. Yes. Chloe looked at me, and I nodded. A long, long time ago, Daddy also gave Mommy a note, Chloe began. But at the time, Mommy said no. Why did you say no? Wasn't Daddy nice? Lily asked. Daddy was wonderful, but Mommy had her own problems at the time, Chloe said, stroking Lily's hair. And after Mommy said no, Daddy disappeared for a very, very long time. Where did he go? Daddy went into hiding. I picked up the story because Daddy felt very sad and didn't know how to face Mommy. What happened next? Lily asked, her eyes wide. Later, Mommy got sick. Very, very sick, Chloe continued. And Mommy wanted to see Daddy one last time, so she looked for him everywhere. Did she find him? She did, I smiled. And when Daddy heard Mommy was sick, he came right back to her side. And then you got together? And then we took care of each other and faced the hard times together, Chloe said, kissing her daughter's cheek. Finally, Mommy got better, we got married, and we had our wonderful Lily. Lily listened intently. After a moment, she asked, so, did Daddy regret rejecting Mommy? Mommy rejected Daddy. I corrected her gently. Oh, did Mommy regret rejecting Daddy? Chloe thought for a moment. Yes, I did. But I also learned that sometimes saying no isn't because you don't like someone. Sometimes it's just not the right time. So what should I do about the boy? Lily asked. Tell him the truth, honestly, I said. If you think he'd be a good friend, tell him you can be friends. If you don't want to think about these things right now, tell him that honestly too. Don't lie just because you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings, Chloe added. Being honest might feel bad for a moment, but in the long run, it's the kindest thing for both of you. Understand, Lily nodded. I'll tell him we can be friends, but right now, I just want to focus on school. That's a great idea, I said, hugging her. You're such a thoughtful girl. Daddy, your story means that sometimes being apart isn't a bad thing, right? Chloe and I were amazed at her understanding. That's right, Chloe said. Sometimes a little time apart is just what you need for a better reunion. So if the boy and I are friends now, maybe we'll be like you and Mommy when we grow up, Lily said with innocent conviction. We both laughed. The next day, Lily wrote a very serious reply to the boy. In her childish script, she wrote, I think you are a nice person and we can be friends, but I am still little and want to study hard. When we are all grown up, we can think about other things. I'm so proud of you, Lily, Chloe said, looking at the note, her eyes shining. She's way more mature than we were, I remarked. That night, Chloe and I were talking in our room. Do you think it was too soon to tell Lily our story? She asked. No, I shook my head. It's better for her to know what real relationships are like than to get hurt, because she's naive. You're right, Chloe said, leaning on my shoulder. I just hope her path to love is easier than ours. It will be, I said, holding her close, because she has us as an example. She knows what real love is, and she knows who is worth waiting for. Leo, do you think our story has a happy ending? It's a perfect ending, I said without hesitation. The journey was rough, but the destination is perfect. If you could go back, would you change anything? I thought for a long time. I wish I had understood what you were going through sooner. Then you wouldn't have had to suffer so much on your own. Me too, she whispered into my chest. If I could do it over, I would have been braver and told you the truth from the start. But if we changed those things, would we still be who we are today? I asked. Probably not, she considered. Those experiences shaped us. They made us into the people we are now. So let's not regret the past. Let's just cherish the present. Okay, she nodded. Cherish the present and look forward to the future. Moonlight streamed into the room, bathing us in its soft glow. 10 years ago, I thought our story was over. 5 years ago, I thought it was just beginning. Now I know our story will never end. It will continue through our daughter and through her children, passed down from one generation to the next. Love isn't a fairy tale. It involves pain, suffering, separation, and reunion. But that's what makes it precious. That's what makes happiness so sweet. I once chose to play dead, thinking I could escape the pain. But now I know that true courage isn't about running away. It's about facing things head on, facing the hurt, facing the fear, and facing the unknown future. Only then can you find true happiness. Chapter 10. The Eternal Promise. Another spring arrived, marking my 10th wedding anniversary with Chloe. We decided to go back to our old college campus, the place where we first met. Mommy, Daddy, I want to go too. Lily insisted, grabbing our hands. All right, the whole family will go. The maple trees on campus were green again, looking exactly as they had over a decade ago. Mommy, is this where you met? Lily asked curiously. It is, Chloe said, pointing to a distant academic building. Mommy and Daddy were in the same class. So, when did Daddy start liking Mommy? I thought for a moment. The very first time I saw her. Why? Because your mommy has a beautiful smile, as pretty as a flower in spring. Lily looked from her mom to me. So when did Mommy start liking Daddy? Chloe blushed. Well, that's hard to say. It was definitely when I started buying her breakfast every day. I joked. It was not, Chloe retorted. It was when you disappeared that I realized how much I'd gotten used to having you around. So, sometimes you have to lose something to understand how precious it is, I said, taking her hand. We walked to the big oak tree where I had confessed my feelings to her all those years ago. This is the spot, I said, pointing to the trunk. This is where Daddy told Mommy he loved her. Lily circled the tree. This tree is so big, I bet it's seen a lot of love stories. I'm sure it has, Chloe said with a smile. Lots of students confess their feelings here every year. It must be a very happy tree, Lily said, patting the bark, because it helps people find love. Just then, we saw a young man nearby confessing his feelings to a girl. I've liked you for a long time. Will you be my girlfriend? The girl thought for a moment, then nodded. Applause and cheers erupted from their friends nearby. They did it. Lily clapped excitedly. I watched the scene, thinking of my younger self. That awkward college kid, standing nervously under this very tree, reciting words he'd practiced for weeks. What are you thinking about? Chloe asked me. I'm thinking that if you had said yes back then, would we have missed out on all the struggles that followed? Would you want to have missed them? I shook my head. No. Those experiences made us more mature and taught us to appreciate what we have. Mommy, Daddy, let's take a picture, Lily suggested. We asked a passing student to help us. You three look so happy, the student said. How long have you been married? 10 years, Chloe replied. Wow, 10 years and still so in love. That's amazing. After the photo, we continued our walk around campus. Daddy, do you think I'll go to college here someday? Lily asked. If you want to, I said. But what's more important is that you find something you truly love to do. I like drawing right now. Then you should keep drawing, Chloe encouraged her. Maybe you'll be a famous artist one day. Then I'll draw lots and lots of happy pictures to make everyone who sees them happy. That's a wonderful idea, I said, picking her up. Lily is going to be a person who spreads joy. As dusk fell, we left the campus. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in the back seat. 10 years, Chloe said softly. Yeah, 10 years, I said, my eyes on the road. It feels like a dream. Do you regret it? Regret what? Marrying me, she said playfully. After all, I brought you so much trouble. I stopped at a red light and turned to look at her. Chloe, do you know what? Meeting you is the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. If I had to choose 100 times over, I would fall in love with you every single time. Her eyes glistened with tears. Me too. I love you, Chloe. I love you too, Leo. The light turned green, and I drove on. When does our story end? She asked. It never ends, I said, taking her hand. It will keep going through our children and through their children. And will our love always be this good? It will, I said firmly, because we've already been through the worst. There's nothing that can tear us apart now. Back at home, I carried Lily to her bed. She was smiling in her sleep. What do you think she's dreaming about? Chloe asked, stroking her daughter's hair. Probably drawing, I said. She's been talking about drawing a picture of our family. I hope her world is always this simple and happy. It will be, I said, wrapping my arm around Chloe. We'll protect her. Late that night, we lay in bed talking. Leo, what do you think true happiness is? This right here, I said, looking at the ceiling. Having the person you love by your side, a wonderful child, a warm home. I used to think happiness had to be some grand, dramatic thing, she said, snuggling closer. Now I know it's much simpler than that. It's just these ordinary days. Leo, can you promise me we'll always be this happy? I promise, I said, kissing her forehead. No matter what happens, we will always be together. That is my promise to you for my entire life. I promise too, she said, holding me tight. For this life, and for every life after. We will never be apart. The end.